Elden Ring, one of the hardest games in the Souls series, with its many complexity and layers of bosses. But with many resources in the game, it becomes quite easy. There are a lot of complex builds and ranged sorceries you can use to get through the game. I decided to try to test my skill and challenge myself. To challenge myself, I wanted to do a no-death run. Many people have done no-death runs, and even no-hit runs. So, I decided to make the challenge even harder with a set of rules. The rules are, you can't die, you have to wear no armor when fighting bosses, you can't level up vigor, you can't excessively grind and make your character too overpowered, which means no excessive routing as well, and I can't use somber weapons, and I can't use ranged mage weapons. Now that I've made these rules, before I jump into the challenge, I need to make a plan. So, I dedicated the first 3 days of me doing the challenge to just planning, noting every little detail I could find on the build and route I was going for, and I thought this would be no biggie. All I had to do was practice for a month, but I was so wrong. This challenge run was one of the hardest things I had to do in my life, and it literally affected my day-to-day life. Since I couldn't use any somber weapons, I had to think of alternative options. There weren't many, but there was one. It was the perfect weapon, and it's also known for being one of the best in the entire game. The Iron Ball. Regardless of how it looks, these things are no joke. They do a stupid amount of damage. What makes this weapon stand out is it doesn't require that much of a route and setup. All you have to do is get the flail and kill the NPC called Bolgar, and he drops you the weapon. The talismans and the entire build is from Gino Machino. He did a no-hit run with these 2 years ago. With the build and routing ready, I was set to start attempting the challenge run. My first attempts at the challenge run were me testing the waters, remembering the routing, knowing where all the smithing stones were, and the mushrooms, different grave sites I needed to remember to teleport back to. It was like playing the game again, but I had to improve my mechanics exponentially. Also, you must be wondering, why are you collecting mushrooms? Well, I'm not only collecting mushrooms, but I'm collecting tree nether lilies. Also pots. All of this because of one boss, the gods couldn't do it. Famous for being one of the most annoying and worst main bosses in the game, I won't be mentioning about it too much, because with the materials I mentioned, I make sleeping pots to make them to go to sleep, and they are easily killable. Every day I would practice the challenge run, which takes about an hour, fixing my mistakes over and over again. Like, for example, Draconic Tree Sentinel was one of my nightmares practicing a certain mechanic. I wasted 4 hours on this guy, baiting him to the ledge and killing him. Trust me, this is so much harder than it is. Also, since I was copying a 2-year-old route, there were little minute changes, like killing Bernal. In the run, Gino kills him for his bell bearing for this Ash of War called Assassin's Gambit. It's a very useful and overpowered Ash of War that lets you become essentially invisible and makes you unseeable from a certain distance, and your footsteps are quiet. But you can't get the Ash of War through Bernal anymore. Well, not through killing him. Instead, you have to kill another NPC called Old Knight Istvan, which is an infinitely harder NPC, and took me ages to adjust him. And this is the only time I allow myself to wear armor, because he's not a boss, he's just an NPC. And after I kill him, then I talk to Bernal and buy it off of him. Through the course of the first month, I mastered the route and its challenges, but watching back the recording and learning from my mistakes, I noticed that something was killing me more than anything else: the main bosses. Each main boss has its difficulty, and I had to master every single one. Godric, Radon, Morgoth, Fire Giant, Malekith, Horah Loux, and the Radabeast. I call it the Radabeast because it's just Radagon and Elden Beast, the same boss. So, with this obstacle in my way, I had to make slots for each of them, practicing them every day and practicing them every time before I would do the challenge run. With me practicing the main bosses in the second month, I got to Malekith, one of the final bosses in the game. But there was one thing I couldn't practice or overcome. It was my nerves. Every time I would get close to one of the final bosses, my heart would pound so fast, I could feel it, and I could feel that I could literally die. And die I did. Because I would get so nervous, it made me perform worse and worse and worse. Not to mention, I couldn't practice as much as I would like to, because through the course of the second month, I was getting better. But it also meant it took longer to reset if I died. Each time I died, it means I wasted 2 hours, which is a lot for my schedule. It was interfering with my real life responsibilities. As the days went by, the time went past, it was coming up to the third month. I was getting discouraged, because I really thought I would finish it in the second month. Frustrated, I hopped on a call with friends, chatting and talked about the challenge I was doing. I'll give everyone in the server that I know $100 if I can't complete this.
If you can't complete it,
Okay, well, bro, I'm not.
GG.
Well,
GG then.
amazing
You
reaction.
better-
Let's go.
You better not freaking mess up. We got that $3.
Do you want us to sound like Dawson? Oh yeah?
With a bet I made essentially to myself, I had a deadline. I needed to finish the challenge at the end of the year. This motivated me to try harder in the runs, dedicating hours. I would practice the run over and over again, mastering every single aspect of the run, through the route, the attack pattern of the bosses, and even the different positioning that gives you a slight advantage against the main bosses. I was getting closer and closer to completing the challenge, but every time I would get closer to the end of the game, my heart just kept pounding. But there was one main boss that made my anxiety and nerves skyrocketed through the roof. Horah Loux. He was the true final boss, the one that requires the most mechanical skill and patience. I would always die to him. In fact, I died to him 5 different times, but there was one time I wasn't nervous, and I thought I had him, but I still died. I recorded this right after. He had a huge attack arc, which means attack arc is like how much a boss attacks in a row, or how much moves they do in a row, and he did a lot. And at that moment when they're doing a move that can't be staggered or anything, so even then it was a mistake to even attack him. Even if I did attack him, even with the M1, he wouldn't have transitioned into second phase. So yeah, I just should never try that again, even though I did it again. Even though I did that the second time I tried to kill him, I just went for it, and I risked it all. Just a quick analysis, and the past 1 month, I think I've been stuck on this boss, which is, the progress is none. I'm just stuck on him. He's a fucking wall I can't climb over. But yeah, sorry for the language, but yeah. Each time I was getting close during the run, the overwhelming pressure got to me. The reason why I was so nervous is because Horah Loux was the last thing that stood between me and completing the challenge. Radagon and Elden Beast had an easy pattern. It was a scripted kill, and that got to my head. But no matter what, I never gave up. Saturday, November 9th. I failed a run, and I was almost not going to do another run because I was so stressed. But I told myself, if I fail, at least I'm going to fail while trying. So having more determination than ever, I started the run. I've gone through this route hundreds of times, through Limgrave, through Liurnia, and through Atlas Plateau. Each grave site, each item, each weapon, each ash of war, I remembered everything that had to do with each of them, like it was the back of my head. I can't mess this fight up. I need to be patient. Stay your distance. After 40 minutes, I started out my first boss fight, Margit. Run to the right side of him. Heavy R2. Walk a little back. Wait for him to come to you. Run around the attack so you don't get hit. Heavy R2 twice. He'll get staggered. Finish him off. This run felt like I entered into a flow state. Everything was a muscle memory. Every single boss. I have mastered everything about each of their patterns. This area is the most dangerous area I go through the entire game. Every single thing, enemies, are all a one-shot. I have to be precise with everything. If I mess it up, it was all for nothing. I can't rush with these bosses. If I do one fatal misclick, a single double click, I'm dead. I have to stay calm. Malekith, remember his patterns. Keep your distance. Look for an opening and strike. This is it. The end game. The nerves were coming. My heart was pounding. I have to stay calm or I have to restart. 2 hours. I can't afford that risk. So I quit out. I took one deep breath and I tried again. heart was pounding so fast I forgot to breathe. But I stopped for a second because I made a mistake. I used all my runes for strength when I'm supposed to save some for endurance so I can have more stamina for the final fight. I switched slots to compare the stamina bars of both slots. It was a big difference. This wasn't gonna stop me. I came all this way. I'm not about to give up. I committed countless hours and hundreds of times. It was all down to this. Let's play! 300 hours worth of grinding. The no death run is fucking complete. Thank you guys for watching until the end of the video. This video did really take me a really long time, and I appreciate everyone that stayed and watched the whole video. Thank you so much if you're still here. I'm gonna be posting 2 other videos regarding the whole route explained, like everything explained in like extreme detail. Also, I'm gonna be posting the 3rd video in my 2nd channel, just no commentary, no edit, nothing whatsoever, just the no death run in its complete utter glory. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm planning to do other no death runs, and if this video hits 10 likes or if it reaches a high amount of likes, then I will do a Shadow of the Erd Tree no death run. And I will also do, if this video hits like a high amount of views, I will also do a New Game Plus 5 no death runs. So I'm gonna beating the game 5 times without dying until New Game Plus 5. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me a really long time, and yeah, stay tuned for the next.